The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. It is dated 21st of September 2020, and the subject is the emotional aspect of the ankles in the constellation of Virgo. I am. Think very well. Where are you going? Which is your destination? Are you really on the path you expected to travel? Look around you, at every step, everything that is surrounding you. Is what you live in your life congruent with what you have thought, with the expectations that you have designed? Now close your eyes and tell me, does everything you live resonate with you? Are you consistent in expressing what vibrates in you? Or do you remain silent and lie for the simple fact of surviving in that environment that you do not recognize or accept? And what do you do by that means? Do you see yourself fluctuating between the echoes of the external, being driven by your ideas, or simply by the reaction of your story? The question is whether what you do it out of love and dedication, or out of need to be accepted. Well, keep in mind that everything you do and decide will have a consequence, and it will come back to you. But by the time it returns to you, you will recognize it as a conflict, and you will separate yourself in the fight against what you yourself have produced. Because everything you live, you have generated. What, then, have you generated in your life? Is your life really what you hoped to generate? Me. There are many deep questions that take a lifetime. I am, and many more, for it is the quest you are on. As they told you today at the Pyramid of Khafre, the only sure destination in life is death. And it is precisely death that allows you to ask these questions. Knowing that everything will end, that there is an end, an inevitable destiny, is what awakens the search for self-knowledge. To consider whether what I do is what I want to do, if I am consistent. Therefore I ask, if you knew that today you were going to die, do you think your life was worth it? Me. Personally, I think so. My life has been worth it, because everything I have sought to do so far, I have achieved, I've done. There are many more things in my way that I hope to accomplish, too many. However, I feel complete, happy, in balance. I'm willing to die. Maybe just 3 months ago it wasn't. To be honest, until 3 months ago, I had high expectations of my life, of believing that I had to do great things, messianic things. I believed that I should make a difference by doing something that marks history, something incredible like the YOSOY journey around the world, and then make social and educational policy, perhaps generate a revolution of consciousness. If you had asked me this question 3 months ago, I would have told you that it was not worth it, and that my life had lost meaning, and that he needed much more to be able to do everything. However, today I find myself in another instance. After meditating day by day on myself and with everyone, I realized that the greatest journey of consciousness that I could make in my life was to share my inner path. I understood that day by day I achieve what completes me, what gives me meaning, and that expectations vanish when you recognize your truths. I am. Therefore, this year you have to die. Because now you know what it means. Now you understand the meaning of what death represents in the concept of philosophy. Death, the end, is the key to doubt. Doubt is flexible. Affirmation is rigid. To flow, you have to doubt. You have to ask yourself questions, and questions lead you to know that nothing can be static, that every idea is transformed. The idea that everything can end makes us realize that the meaning lies in the wisdom I acquire to see existence. Therefore, your feet were not designed to reach a destination, but to travel the eternal search. Every terrestrial animal has had to migrate, has had to adapt to changes in the climate, moving in other directions, looking for safety and food. In the human, the feet have been these useful tools, and in them is placed the expectation of advancing, of reaching a destination. The idea of learning from the path, of making one's way, of discovering, of recognizing, is framed and anchored in them. The journey towards the discovery of security and food became an initiatory path, and that initiation arose to escape the hunger and fear that would lead to death. And yet, the further you go down the road, the closer you are to death. Life is a journey without destination. It is simply an endless search with an end. Thus, the initiatic path recognized that seeking to survive was useless and awakened the inner search. Faith, the divine food, the one that shows us doors to the afterlife, the one that gives meaning to a path beyond death, that gives security in the belief of a heaven, of a new world of light, heavenly utopia. But to get to him, you have to learn to fly light. You have to clear internal doubts. You have to be open to explore the most remote places of the interior, to release the tensions and hardships of the soul. This is how the search arises. This word comes from the Indo-European bhud-sko, which means to conquer, to win. In English, the word seek comes from the Latin sagire, which means acutely perceiving a smell, like the wolf looking for its prey. In both cases, the word implies having the ability of smell to obtain something, the ability to get, to earn a living, food, security. And yet, this concept led to the idea of earning heaven. Me. But it's not what searching really means, right? I am. Every current culture has built the idea of searching in an external aspect that implies acquiring something as a result, seizing something. However, with death as your only destiny, you cannot even know if you have been worthy of earning heaven. Therefore, despite believing or having faith, people avoid death for that security. Everyone well knows that no one has earned heaven. Everyone doubts, and so they return to life, going around in circles, denying death. That's when, looking back, you ask yourself, what is the meaning of life? That's when you realize that the only thing you can win in life is your ability to interpret and share it, to live each day as the last, and give yourself completely to the capacity for wonder and learning, something you call wisdom. Wisdom is not earned, it is discovered. Knowledge can be conquered, but wisdom can only be felt. Me. In Saitu, Atlantean language, the word search is said afor, which means to look at the flow that bears fruit in the mind that advances. That is to say that the fruit is not the objective, but the fruits are those that show the achievements of the mind, which is what really remains. I am. The spiritual search is not to obtain the fruits of actions, but to understand their meaning. Therefore, we must ask ourselves the questions of existence. What are you really looking for in life? Is it a feeling? Is it an emotion? Is it a purpose or a mission? Is it to live fully? And what does that really mean? plenitude and harmony are not perhaps a sentimental state? Is the purpose you seek to fulfill because it is born of you as a service to the whole, or because you seek to be recognized and remembered for what you have done? Recognize, human, that every purpose you have put in your life has as its objective and a mere emotional and sentimental state. You are so tied to the concepts of the emotion of the soul that you fail to see that one day this will end, and that the emotion was a chemical reaction that will die, and that the feeling will disappear like your senses when your brain shuts down. What beings from other planes express in you are not emotions. The emotions you feel from beings from other dimensions are just your biological interpretations of their resonances. Will you continue, then, designing a life whose sole objective is to feel an emotion? Me. You just destroyed me. I mean, the meaning of everything, the reason why we move forward, why we're in our search, is directly linked to a personal need to feel security and fulfillment. I am. Nobody is altruistic. The only altruist is that he faces death and discovers emptiness. And instead of falling into depression or fighting nonsense, he divests himself to become everyone. The paths of the search, then, are divided into those who project their own needs into an end, and those who live the end without needs. Which of them are you? Me. I'm still from the first group. I still have high expectations. I recognize that what I do has a personal interest. The fear of forgetting makes me want to be remembered. The fear of nonsense makes me want to be loved. The fear of the eternal makes me want to experience momentary pleasures. The disgust of what is dissonant in life makes me want to build a world in the way I want and I think is better. Everything I do for recognition. Although I deny it, now I know that I deny it because it is what I seek the most, because I'm afraid of being forgotten, as has happened to me many times. And the fear of not fulfilling my mission and coming back again is not because I don't want to come back, but because I don't want to leave frustrated at not having achieved what I wanted and expected. I am. Very good. You see it? Did you see how many things were anchored in the depths of your being that you would not recognize without the questions, without remembering that you will die? We all do everything for something, for a purpose, and all those ends are selfish, because they only seek personal fulfillment before seeing the fruits of our actions. And yet, you will not see them if you live in expectation. Me. So, what should I do? I am. Turn the sentence around. If you have started the search to reach a destination, then make your destination the search. Me. Wouldn't that be going in circles without ever leaving the loop? I am. Go out where? Do you think you're into something? Limits are a gift on your quest path, but they don't exist. Death is a gift of liberation, but not from a place, but from a concept. Everything that exists is a journey whose destination is always the I am. Your body is a tool, a vehicle designed to make this journey, to feel and enjoy it. You must learn to differentiate the pilot from the machine. If you build your purposes based on the chemical reactions of your body, you're always living in a mechanical workshop. You must see beyond, and that beyond is not on the horizon. It is inside, in the person who drives, and not even in his body, but in his intention. What moves this little person to want to get into a car to start the trip? Me. Looking at it this way, it's very difficult for a human who lives in a physical body full of emotional and biological preconceptions. How can you get out of this concept if today you are him? Isn't it counterproductive to say, live and accept your body, and on the other hand say, it is the body that prevents you from seeing clearly? I am. Knowing how to drive a car doesn't make you become the car, does it? What you just asked me is the same as saying that the only way to travel through life is by turning yourself into a car, putting on wheels, and putting fuel through some hole. Me. Ah, I understand. I am. On the other hand, the driver must take good care of the car. The vehicle is all he has for such a trip. He must take good care of it and feed it, respect it, treat it with care, because the car is his own creation. To heal and respect the body is to become the mechanic of this body, this vehicle, and yet you are the driver. Is it the car that determines your destiny, or is it you who drives? Me. Sure, I understand. We live in the vehicles that we created to carry out the search, and in the habit of traveling we thought we were cars, comparing tires, doing illegal races, putting accessories on it, decorating it, going out of our way for the car as if it were the only thing existing, when in reality we should honor and love him, knowing that it is the spirit that should lead the way, not the fuel that we call emotion. I am. If you let your life be guided by the emotion of fulfilling a goal, you will be traveling from gas station to gas station, desperately seeking to refill the tank of emotions in order to continue. You'll miss the landscape and the adventure, the learning, the views, the moments of contemplation, the walks on the sides of the road. Therefore, if you build your life in the sense of continuing to feed the body and living only for it, you'll never be in the true search. You will only find yourself running to please yourself at the next stop. Me. What should I recognize then today? I am. You must ask yourself the question, what is the emotion that moves me in the search? That is, write what you feel and are excited about projecting your destiny. The emotions that drive you and the feelings you seek to feel at the end of your life. If today you had to die, what would you feel? Me. I get down to it. That way I'll know where I'm living from what emotion I pulse for everything I do. I am. Remember, your destiny is the search.